Hello, welcome to the series called Conversations with, and today we are talking with the incomparable pizzazz and jazz and razzlin dazzlin air jazz. How are you today?
Excelente, Mr. Zansler. It's a pleasure being on this new series.
Yeah, I think this would be a cool place to talk to artists about how they do things. I always find it interesting talking to other artists and like listening to what their processes are and shit like that. It's really cool. Okay. Anywho, well, yeah. What?
I was gonna say it takes one to know one because you're visionary yourself behind the production and the sing song.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. All right. So my first question had to do with the album Last Chance Chill Cat, which I absolutely love. It's like your best work. It's absolutely incredible. Like I feel like everything that you've been doing up until now, it's really like crystallized into like this, this great body of work. And from what I noticed, the rapping and the hook writing and the songwriting and the singing, you just seem so dialed in. Like you just seem so like focused and like I don't know, like what was your intention going with this record? Because it sounds like you really put like your whole fucking ass into this album, like
your whole fucking ass into this album.
Yeah, damn straight, man. This was definitely the project that I thought was my zenith and my most prominent piece of work that I've done. And part of that reason being, I'm to a point now where if people here in Alaska or over in Alaska, where I previously was, if we want to really have some impact and get our names out there for a wider audience, we got to really make it so effortful that you can bump it anywhere around the world and it would still have quality sound.
No, it is super like universal, but it's also very specific to you. Like the music is very, very air jazz. Like that's what I love about your sound so much. It's so singular in how you write and how you perform and how you produce songs. I don't know, it's crazy. Like how did you get to this point where you had because I've known you since middle school and your sound has gone through so much evolution up until that point, and especially like your beat making, you've become so far as a producer. And like how did you get to the point where you're like, this is the air jazz sound? Like I don't know.
Yeah, dude, I'm much obliged that you recognize me as my own unique lane because that's definitely my goal. I spent years back in high school just listening to a lot of amazing artists, both producers and rappers and singers. And over the years, I thought, I need a niche. I need a shtick that would really make me have my own identity, both name-wise and sound-wise. Because a lot of my favorite artists, such as, Clams Casino, Kid Cudi, Denzel Curry is another great one. Yeah. They just take those really nice elements of hip hop and they amalgamate it into this nice fusion. Like they just have their own unique aesthetic behind everything they do. And they're not afraid to be. I think that's now my new favorite way of identifying,
So basically, if you want to find your own sound, you just have to be based, basically.
That's facts. That's exactly it. You gotta be based.
You gotta be based, bro. Dude, I am so fucking excited for the new Denzel Curry record. Like,
facts, dude.
I remember like listening to Taboo all the time back in high school, and that album was so good and has so much replay value. And like, I don't know, it seems like he's elevating his craft. Not to digress, but to digress. Like, I'm so fucking excited. Like, hearing Walkin', I have been listening to that song over and over and over and over again. It's so fucking good.
The video is incredible. The production value, the writing is more witty, like almost Kendrick levels of witty. He really has become like Super Saiyan.
Yeah, no, and he, much like you, has like very distinct lane. Like you recognize him instantly. He just cuts through the noise. So one thing that I also noticed on this record is one thing I've always admired you for in your music is you don't take yourself too seriously. Like you don't get bogged down in like this idea of like I'm the artist. Like you're very silly and you can be very goofy. But on this particular record, you seem very like a lot more like serious and forlorn. And you're like you have those moments of goofiness, like Ho Down, songs like that. But like you also have songs that are just like really depressing.
Yeah.
Like Life in the Foster's Home or Serpents Pass. Like I was listening to Serpents Pass and it's just like, I was just like, damn. Like both of those songs I think are about alcoholism, right? In some way or another. But it's like, I don't know, man. Like what, is there something that caused this like shift in like tone and like subject matter in your music? Or am I extrapolating, or has your music gotten a bit more like serious and dark?
Oh yeah, totally. You're spot on. I've gotten to a more solemn and more sincere amount of topics and overall deliveries. I've tried to become a little bit more of an authentic artist and songwriter over the years. And one of the main reasons for that is I got my first big break off of I Love You, My People with Tlingit and Haida, which is Ich Zecha nach Kwan in Tlingit. And I felt like when I did that music video and song, people presumed and pigeonholed me as this comedic kind of easygoing type of rapper.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know, as a whole, that doesn't quite capture my entire identity. It doesn't capture my entire hope and ability. So I wanted to dive into more solemn topics so that way it can make the comedic songs that much funnier and it can make the deep songs that much deeper.
Yeah, no, it does. It adds emotional depth. I think if you're making a piece of art, something that people really gravitate towards is being able to make people laugh, but then also being able to like rip their heart out and like tear it to shreds. Like you're fucking dying, but then you're also just like, oh my gosh. Like, how's it? Sorry to Bother You. Have you seen Sorry to Bother You?
I have not.
Really good film. Highly recommend anybody watch it. It's a dark comedy film and it follows this telemarketer and he like, it's like kind of like a fantasy version of our world, and it like sort of it's a great satire in that like it illustrates how like fucked up our world is, but it's also like very like insane and wacky and like gut bustingly funny. Like, and like that kind of art really resonates with people because I think people don't like to be bogged down. People don't like to be miserable. Like that's why escapism is so popular. You know, people want things that bring them joy. And if you're able to like bring people joy and then also teach them something, you know, that's really solid.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like I think another example would be Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, yeah.
Because see, when it comes to King Kendrick, he can be as goofy and as left field as he is witty and really meaningful to a lot of people. And that's a perfect balance for him.
Yeah, like his verse on Range Brothers off of Baby Keem's album was like blew my mind because it's like he's like he's going in like what's my favorite part? My favorite part is every little bitch that's porn looking like soft porn only meant for the ego to bruise. Best when the points get scored and the hate gets stored. You're going to live in this world confused. Like that is incredible. And then at the end, he's just like, top of the morning, top of the morning, top of the morning.
Top of the morning.
That shit was so funny, dude. Oh my God.
The most worthy hook of the entire year.
Oh man, that got me through a lot.
Me too, man. Me and my whole Seattle fam were just saying top of the morning, top of the morning, top of the morning, top of the morning, back and forth to each other all the time, bro.
How are things in Seattle? Like just in general, like how are things?
Yeah, it's cool around here. It's much, of course, a much bigger space than the hometown of Juneau.
Mm.
And there's also a lot of connections I've made here since I first arrived.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a must. It's a nice thing to do when you want to network and promote yourself and bigger audience.
Yeah, no, definitely. So a question I had is, when I release music, like I think when any artist release music on like a public platform, there's like this tentative idea of like, oh, what are people going to think of it? But I sort of wanted to know like what, like, do you even care about what people think about your music? Or are you just like, fuck it, I don't care. I'm just going to put out whatever. And if you don't like it, you can fuck off. Like what is, or is it like a mix? Like how do you approach your response to your music? How invested are you in like the way that people respond to your music?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. That was something, that was a turning point for me maybe 2 years ago. I stopped caring too much about the general consensus and opinion people have on my music. I used to be really self-conscious about, would this be bumpable in a car? Would this be something they replay all the time? And then eventually I started to think, I'm just going to make what sounds good to me, you know? Whatever I have headphones on, if I'm going out on a run and I want to listen to something to tune everything out, I just think about what would sound good to me and my ears. And then whoever feels my vibe is just a general fan that can
Yeah.
feel the same way about their own music.
Yeah. And that's what I love about the way you make art is it's like honestly like sometimes like I'm like confused by like the way like you make things and I'm not, that's not like a dig. That's just
Yeah.
like a you're exploring different territory and I'm not used to it. Like I'm used to certain
Mhm.
drum patterns and certain this and like you're throwing me off. But it's great because it's like, it's still very enjoyable and, it's still great. Like,
Mhm.
and like that's the best attitude to have because like yeah, I really
Thank you, man.
I sometimes worry about um like I don't know, like this is cringy, but I always just try to be authentic because and that's solid.
Yeah, you are authentic, man. I can tell from the amazing instrumentation you did for Eliza and I's song we did with you,
Yeah.
which was temporary. And I mean, that whole EP, I can tell that you had an authentic idea in mind and you manifested it into sound. And I always love that. No matter if it's experimental, no
Yeah.
matter if it's really pop oriented to where people could bump it in a car,
Yeah.
you just always have a great idea.
Yeah. What is your
Mhm.
opinion on Whole Lotta Red?
Love it.
Me too, dude. I think I wrote that question when I was listening to Whole Lotta Red a lot. Um, I went through a stage of my life where like that was all I listened to.
That was
It
me
wasn't
last
even
year, dude.
that long ago. Like it was this past late December, January, and I just listened to it all the time. It's just so insane. And I had to catch myself because sometimes, like if you rap along to Cardi in public or around other people, like people are just like, what is wrong with you? And you're just
You-
like, and people are like, what the fuck, dude? Shut up. I,
Never
I've
too
had,
much.
I've had a lot of
Never too
moments
much.
like that. Yeah, it's like hard to explain like what is so good about Cardi unless you get it. Like,
Mhm.
but yeah,
Yeah, dude. Cardi's just intoxicating. Whenever he does anything on Dial It or Whole Lotta Red, you're just so enthralled with his childish personality and his repetitive hooks that it's like dumb fun. It's super fun to listen to.
absolutely.
Mhm.
All right. So so a lot of your songs, especially on this album because it's more sincere, come from like a sense of like native empowerment and
Mhm.
You're the North Star. A lot of the songs, or they're dealing with topics that are very tangentially related to native people, like, you know, Life in a Foster's Home or Serpents Pass or
Mhm.
stuff like that. And of course,
Mhm.
there's songs where you're just singing Clink It. I just wanted to know, like what is your, because I know you don't care what people think about your music, but like, what is your goal with your music in regards to like indigenous people in general, or yeah.
Yes. So one of the main reasons I love to bring up indigenous topics and relate to the indigenous people of Alaska that I come from is because, for one, it's part of my identity. It's part of who I am and the
Mm.
family I come from, and I'd love to give them tribute and homage. And on top of that, I want to see a huge wave of young indigenous artists that can take subject matter about our people and still make some really quality music out of it, make something unique to them, so
Yeah.
that they have their own unique way of expressing their people, expressing to their people.
Yeah. And what I think is cool about you and other artists too is it's like, it's not so much like, oh, that's the native rapper. It's like, oh, this is the rapper that raps in their native language. And like, cause it's not a gimmick. It's like who you are, like this is your life. So obviously you're going to rap in your life. You're going to, I'm sure that like Clink It is not your like native tongue, but at the same time, it
Mhm.
is like, it's part of your culture. It's part of your heritage. And like, that's important to you. And so like, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I just kind of trailed off.
No, you're totally right, man. Yeah, I'll let it be revealed. I'm not a fluent Tlingit speaker,
Mhm.
though. For the amount of Tlingit I've learned from my elders, I was loving the thought of making songs in the native tongue, just let
No,
all of
dude,
it be heard.
I was blown away when I took the song down, but get wiggle with it. I remember hearing your verse on that and Clink It and just being like absolutely in awe because I don't know, it's really cool. I think there's something really special about, as an English speaker, seeing rap in other languages. Like that's why I think the Higher Brothers are so interesting, is hearing these dudes going off in Chinese. I think it's really cool. Like, I don't know.
Higher Brothers are dope. Yeah,
Higher Brothers are dope. Yeah,
that's
Higher
my
Brothers
boy.
are cool. One thing I wanted to do, and I asked you about this, is like do like a breakdown of the album, kind of, and like we can go through each song in succession. Um,
Yeah.
Let me pull up my phone so I have all the songs in order. All right. Well, yeah, I know the first song is Mirror's Edge. This is a song I was really curious about hearing because it's very different for you. It's more sung and it's also got a more aggressive, there's like weird feedback coming off. It's got a more like aggressive rap style. Like you're more
Mhm.
like usually your rap style is more like reserved, but and like some of the lyrics I couldn't really tell like what you were talking about or like what. So can you just talk about like that song in particular and like how you came about making it and like what the song's about or some, yeah.
Yeah. So the main topic I have for Mirror's Edge is self-reflection. It's me seeing two versions of myself, one that's ideal and one that's failing. And I'm saying there's always that possibility that you choose this path of total failure. And in your mind, you're trying to go to this path of total success. And so,
Oh, got
mhm,
it. All right. That's
yeah,
really
so that
interesting.
was what the hook was about. It was, you've lost your blood, you've lost your love, and you've lost your soul. You have no identity to you. You have no real purpose in mind if you choose the path of just drug use and destruction.
Is that like a personal thing or is that like related to people in your life or?
It was a personal thing when I wrote it, though I also put it out there knowing I'm sure others feel the same way when they're like, I need to stop and take a look at myself and think of everything I should do right and everything I'm currently not doing right that needs
Yeah,
to be fixed.
no, for sure. Um, yeah. And who did the beat for that? Because I know you didn't do the beat for it.
Yeah, you're right. It was from a guy named Ollie Fi. I first encountered him on YouTube, and I talked to him over email, and he's actually done that beat for me, and I'll be doing another song with his beat soon as well.
Oh, so it's like, it's not like a tight beat. He like made the beat for you.
He didn't make it for me. He gave me the stems for a type beat he did.
Oh, okay, gotcha. And who's doing the background vocals? The your song. Who's doing that? Is that you?
That was actually in the beat. Those samples you're hearing
Oh,
are part of the beat. Yeah.
that's so cool. What the
Yeah.
fuck? So you like
Yeah.
reverse engineered a hook? That's fucking mental, dude. Whoa.
Yeah, dude. Shout out Ollie
Damn.
Fi. He had a fire ass beat, and I was like, I could sing over that.
Mad
Dude.
respect, man. I seriously thought you had like someone doing vocals over it. That's dope, dude. Nice. I love that.
Oh yeah, man.
Although that makes more sense now because it's like those vocals are kind of more prominent in like the beat itself. Solid. Okay. You're the North Star. I love this song. It's great. I listen to it a lot. I love the hook, especially. North Star higher than the pole star. Like, I love the hook. It's really catchy. One of your best hooks. Like, just stepping aside from the song for a second, like you've gotten so much better at writing hooks, and not to like degrade your early work or whatever, but just like the level of writing in your hooks, and like, you know, you're able to write hooks that like, you know, they're not clunky, they're not awkward, they sound really fluid, they sound really catchy, you know, and so yeah, just recognizing that. But how did that song come about?
Yeah, this one's a unique one because I actually made this in connection with an Alaskan team I'm a part of called Bunnell Arts. They wanted me to make them a song, and they had me go to Portland, Oregon to record it in their studio that they have. And the main reason they wanted me to make this is because they plan to do a music video up north in Homer, Alaska, which is where I was over in 2019. I did a road show in Homer, Alaska. And now that I'm back in connection with them, they wanted me to make them a theme song that I could do a video for. And so that's how this one came about.
Oh, I guess that makes sense because it's a more wholesome song for you. I like the message though of what's it, something don't need no alcohol. Like I like that message.
Yeah.
It's dope.
Turned up as an after party, don't need the alcohol.
Yeah, it turned up as an after. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, I really. Yeah, enough said. Is the video coming out?
We have not done the video yet, but I'll talk to my friend Ed in Homer and see how soon he'll be available for me to go up there.
Yeah, honestly, because like that's one of the songs I was like, this really needs a video because it's like it's kind of an anthem.
Absolutely, man.
And I think in Homer that would work really well. I think that would be cool. That would be neat. All solid.
Yeah, shout out to Homer homies.
Shout out to Homer. I've never been to Homer. Oh yeah, Life in a Foster's Home. This might be my favorite. I think I've already told you this is like my favorite. I love. Is it like a sample, or is it all your instrumentation?
Believe it or not, I did make that all in Logic Pro.
This is really cool. Really cool. It's intoxicating. It's kind of like you made the sonic equivalent to what you were singing about, and I'm sure that was like your goal, but like you really nailed it. Like it really sounds like being intoxicated and depressed and depraved and like completely like dead. Like it really captures the energy really well. That's a song I really want to know the story for.
Yeah, totally, man. So it's funny, I wrote this song originally on behalf of my friend named Arturo, who lives in Juneau. And he was having some real struggles with the home he was living in. And he was wanting to be in foster care. He was wanting to be out of his parents' house. And when I was writing this, I was thinking, maybe it doesn't have to just be about a literal person who is in a foster's home. it can be more metaphorical about substance use and depression. And so I'm also kind of relating this to the show I used to watch when I was a kid, which is Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. And the metaphor there is that you're a lonely kid or a lonely person who has nothing to turn to other than drinking and substances that cause hallucination.
Wait, this was in the
And
kids show?
this was not in the kids show. I made a metaphor that is referencing the kids show.
So the foster home is the metaphor?
Yeah, it doesn't literally mean like you're a kid who lives in a foster's home. It means you are a lonely soul who is tuning out reality using a substance.
And so something I was thinking about in regards to this song in Serpents Pass is it's like kind of like personifying like addiction as like a person.
Yeah, I'm glad you caught on to that. I definitely do speak from the perspective, like I'm narrating as addiction. I'm narrating as a substance that people use.
It's really cool. Like not addiction, but like just the way that you like manage to create that metaphor. And like one of my family friends, he's like, you know, he's an older guy. He's really not into rap. And he was watching, he heard the song because of you, it was on the Vibe stream. And he was like, wow, like the subject matter is really dark. So it's like something that people catch on to, but it's like, I don't know, man. Like it's really like the lyrics are deeply intense, like just the way that you're talking about, like it's very real shit. Like
yeah, thank you, man. Like part of the reason I also make songs like this is because I know there are people back home in Juneau that have some real heavy struggles that I remember. A lot of my family and friends I come from, they're going through some stuff, and I want it to be put out on full display as a support rather than as, you know.
So cool. That reminds me of Kid Cudi, the way he would make music as a way to help people. I think that's really admirable. I think that's really cool what you're doing. All right. What's the next song? I think it's AK Ginseng. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, AK Ginseng.
What does that mean? I'm sorry. Is ginseng's like a root, right?
Yeah, so actual ginseng is a root, and AK ginseng or Alaskan ginseng is a nickname for Devil's Club.
Oh, got it. So I saw that you posted like a translation of the lyrics on the video. And is this song like a respecting women anthem?
Yeah, it's a respecting women anthem, and it's also showing that we use our women, especially in the tribe, to help heal men who have gotten misguided, men who take their trauma out the wrong way, and they need to be, you know, redirected to a better place.
Yeah. No, it's a cool song. Honestly, the song really clicked for me once I saw the video and read the lyrics. Like, how did that song come about? Like the origins of the beat and the song and just that.
Yeah, so that one was cool. It was kind of a process I went through. First, I did a Guzheng MIDI, which is the strings you hear in the beat. I did those strings through Logic Pro, and I just loved the nice, plucky Chinese kind of feel to it. Gave me anime vibes. So I posted that loop on, you know, I just posted it on this website. And then some guy took that loop of the strings and he made some 808 trap beat out of that string loop. So he made the beat out of something I originally did.
Wow.
And I said, oh, dude, hell yeah, I'm going to use this. I'm just going to use my own little sample that you made a beat out of.
That's wild. That's honestly amazing. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing that like you can do that. Like you can like put something out online and then someone makes a song for you. Like that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was perfect. And on top of that, I had just written that song. I had written a Tlingit song thinking I need an instrumental that will be just long enough and just the right sound for me to sing in Tlingit. And I thought, I think that's the one.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That I good song.
Appreciate
Good song. It's,
it.
yeah, pretty self-explanatory. Then the next song is Serpents Pass. I also like this one a lot.
Mhm.
I love the beat on it. I like it feels kind of like pulsating, especially with the chorus. And
Mhm.
you have like this kind of like this like it's I don't know.
Yeah.
It has its own feel to it. Can you talk about like how that song came to be? Like what was your mindset going into that song?
Yeah, so I wanted to make a more sinister approach to the alcoholism topic. And I wanted a song that would be kind of almost sounding like a warrior chant or a really hard hitting anthem that
Mm,
would really nail it in your head,
mm,
the alcohol abuse that goes on.
mm.
And so then I first made the beat. I was first thinking, what are some sounds that would really manifest that emotion? And so then I was thinking, yeah, some nice marimba to give it a nice clanky feel, some really hard hitting drum patterns that are set to like a boom bap rhythm, but they're still, really snappy. That's what I was going for. And then when I had the beat ready, I thought, now I have to match it with my tone of voice and my rapping on this one.
Yeah. The chords are very dour. It's a very dour song, even though like you said it's very like charging, like warlike. It's like very
Mhm.
like it's sad. It's like I don't know, it's kind of like the imagery I get is like this kind of devil-like character, like
Mhm.
controlling you and like, manipulating you like Venom. Not
Venom,
to bring
yeah.
up Venom, but that's like the easiest comparison. Like Venom.
Venom.
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, the imagery is just like really like yeah. Um I don't know. One thing I wanted to mention is like I have a hard time with lyrics. Like I always like gravitate towards the instrumental before I really
Mhm.
get the lyrics, but I think with this album because it was mixed so much better than like your previous albums, um
Mhm.
I was really able to hear you this time. Like I think with your style in particular, because it's so dense lyrically, you kind of need like to hear everything. Because there were past albums where I was like, this is cool, but like I can't hear him, like he's too quiet. Like and like
Yeah.
it really came through and like I don't know. It was just it was clear as day and like I could pick up everything. And of course now I can't recall anything because I have a horrible memory, but like I love your style of like especially listening to standout songs like that, like Serpents Pass or just any song on the record, is
Mhm.
how like dense you just fill every little corner with something, but it all like fits narratively. Because like with some of your earlier stuff where you're more like, haha, silly, goofy, like
Mhm.
it's like it still sounds good, but it's like some of this shit's like, I can tell that you're just kind of shooting the shit. But like with this record, not only is it like still kind of that style of like da 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 da, and like
Mhm.
multiple rhyme schemes and like everything is filled, everything's dense, but like every line has a purpose. Like all of it like matches up, and like I mean, on top of sounding great, like it has a really strong narrative to it, and so
Yeah, thank you, man. That was definitely my goal. As part of my evolution I wanted on this project is I wanted more vocal presence. I wanted a more, prominent and in your ear type of delivery because I definitely noticed that on my sillier songs in the past, I kind of just get drowned out in the sound of the music
mm,
and it just becomes kind of like background rap noise rather than a prominent vocal. So yeah, I appreciate that, man.
all right, yeah, for sure. Next track is Trail of Smiles. I like this one too. I think this one needs a video too because it's very catchy. It's a good.
It's a vibe.
I think this song is probably one of the more positive songs on the record. Like it's got this like serene, like careless feeling. How did the beat come about? How did that song come into being? I sound really
Yeah.
repetitive. I'm just like, how did this happen? How did this? But like, I'm
Mhm.
genuinely interested.
Yeah, totally, man. That one started with just a really cool like Vox synth line that you hear throughout the beat there. Kind of that eerie, echoey Vox pad that you're hearing. That was the first layer I put on there before any drums or bass. And I just thought that's really all it needs. Because
Yeah.
another thing you'll notice is Trail of Smiles, it's probably one of the more simplistic instrumentals on the project. There's not a whole lot to it. It's mostly just drums and some Vox synth. And I think that was actually effective because I'm thinking it actually fits well with the topic being, we go from a trail of tears to seeing all these happy faces that are rejoicing. And so all it needs is a nice kind of airy and vibey emotion. So that Vox pad did its job.
Yeah, it's a cool song, and it's a nice little moment of like joy.
Yeah, some peace.
Yeah. Also, the next track, Courage. I love this song, and it's probably the most like I remember hearing this song and just being like shocked. And like I was really happy I ended up on the album because it's like really different for you. Like you're
Yeah.
auto crooning the whole song, and the whole song is in Tlingit. Like as someone who doesn't speak Tlingit, can you tell me what the song is about, and also how you came to want to do a song like that?
Yeah. So that song centers around one of the most popular phrases in the Tlingit language, and that is Iguayekwan or Yiguayekwan, which is actually what the hook is on that track. And that phrase pretty much means to have courage or to stand up and face something. So it's kind of a contrast because that phrase is used to say, be confident, be strong, and stand up against your demons or anything that stands in front of you. Yet I thought it'd be a unique artistic move to make it really slow and somber with some auto-crooned vocals over it.
Yeah.
I just thought it would be a nice experimental twist to the message.
No, it really is interesting. It's really beautiful. I was telling you over text, it really reminds me of like an anime closer. What is the sample? Like, yeah, what is the sample?
Yeah, that sample is from one of the Final Fantasy OSTs. It had a great piano behind it, and I just really wanted to use it.
So did you just take it and then like sing over it, or like
I pitched it down and I changed the BPM, but overall it's that same sample. Yeah.
So cool, so creative. I love the idea of taking a sample and completely taking it out of context, but like using it as the primary instrument. I think it's really creative. Like Jesus Walks, the whole song is just that sample, but it's used in such an engaging and interesting way. So yeah. Anywho, next song, Hoedown Sensei. Love this song.
Thank you.
It's like it's more like the silly songs on your past records. I really like the vibe. I like the I love the groove to it. It's very interesting. It's very different. And then the beat switch was cool too. The lyrics in Sensei, what's that about? That was kind of confusing to me.
Yeah, so that switch off, it was, before I dive into the lyrics, I'll bring up that switch off beat was actually produced by Shay, and the homie Shay we know from Juno. He's really dope. He showed me that anime beat, and I just thought I need to include this somehow into this song, and that's what I thought would be effective. And so that second half, it's actually me referencing one of my old friends, one of my old family friends who passed, and his name is Tony.
Gotcha.
And yeah, Tony, he was probably one of my biggest inspirations growing up. He was a guitar player. He went on walks with me to the glacier, and he was a really almost Zen type of character in my family. And yeah, he was really dope. And I thought, if I'm going to tribute to him, I'm going to do it in a way that would actually tie into the project. And so the theme of that whole song is, it starts off with Hoedown, where I'm just doing some, dumb, fun party anthem where I'm not really giving a shit. And then as soon as that beat switch happens, I'm thinking, shit, I've really lost my way. I just feel like I'm easygoing, not giving a fuck, doing some, I wouldn't say Playboy Cardi shit, but I'm just definitely doing some mindless shit. And then I'm like, let me reach out to my homie Tony and remember all the good times we had, to where, things mattered and had wisdom.
So when you're saying conjure Tony, is that like, you're like, I'm trying to like bring him back, or like I'm trying to like, is that what that's a reference to? Like,
Yeah, I'm literally saying, yeah, bring him back, whether it be, spiritually for some people. It could also just be mentally, having
yeah,
nostalgia about the guy,
that's
knowing
cool.
what he'd be saying.
That's really cool, knowing the story behind that. That was
Mhm.
something I was really curious about. Let's see what else. Um, oh yeah, Nephew Thunder. This song's really interesting too. It has a really interesting end. Can you talk about this song?
Yeah, this one was a shout out to the late King Gase T, or as you know him, David Katzek. People know of David Katzek from Juneau, Alaska.
Yeah.
And him and I were pretty close over the years. He was close with a lot of the young indigenous youth.
Mhm.
And when he passed, I thought, someone who has had as much impact as him on the Tlingit tribe, on the Tlingit community, needs at least some kind of anthem. And that one, I just decided to get a little weird with the synth pattern and try something that's uniquely referencing him. It's as uniquely referencing him lyrically as it is sonically.
And how's that? How is it like referencing him sonically?
It has this kind of vibrant and playful energy that's not exactly sad. It's actually kind of euphoric and endearing. It's what I was going for with the synths on there. And I thought it worked well with the positive outlook that I have for David Katzek.
That's really cool. Honestly, yeah. I should do more looking in on David Katzek, because I saw that he passed and he had a big impact on a lot of people. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but did he go into classrooms and do things about the Tlingit language and stuff?
Yeah, he went to just about all the schools where he would spread a lot of Tlingit philosophy for them, tell them to the
Okay, okay,
classes.
yeah, I thought that name was familiar. Okay. Yeah, I just didn't want to like mix him up with somebody, but yeah, that's really cool that you did that. Rest in peace.
Uh,
Um, yeah, that's a cool song. Anyway, oh yeah, I skipped a song. I went down a song.
oh,
Aurora
that's right.
Protection with A Train. Shout out A Train.
Shout out A Train,
Love A Train. How did
the
that song
goat.
happen? I love that song.
Thank you. Yeah, this one was cool. It was literally, I was listening to A Train's songs on SoundCloud, and I came across this track Borealis, which was a Northern Lights guitar loop. And I heard it and I said, dude, that's amazing. That's like loop worthy. That's beat sample worthy. I told him that.
He's so sample worthy. He is just like a goat when it comes to like making like little licks and shit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he's very talented. I'm definitely gonna work with him at some point once I'm
Yeah,
finished
dude.
with my album. I really want to work with him.
The indie psych rock dream pop shit, he's all about it, man. He just has his sound.
Yeah, shout out A Train.
Yeah, so that's how it came about. I took that borealis guitar that he did. He said, yeah, dude, I'd love if you made a song out of it. And essentially, that's all I needed. I just took
Yeah.
that, threw some light, slow drum over it. And then I said, let's make an aurora borealis anthem where I just shout out the natives and shout out the life.
Hell yeah, dude. I love
Hmm.
that. I love seeing Alaskan artists working together. It's so tight, dude. That's my favorite thing about the vibe stream is like because of the vibe stream, because of my vibe stream, there are like
Yeah.
artists that are like working together and like making songs together. And that's so dope to me. Like,
Yeah, bro. Your vibe stream is a network for our Alaskans. That's
yeah,
super dope.
that's the goal. That's the goal. And honestly, it's just so dope to see people like working together and shit. Like it's so solid. And that's why I was really happy to get Eliza on radiophonic jazz, the last radiophonic jazz record. um
Yeah, totally.
I loved how I kind of like made that happen. And yeah, um there's two more songs. Cosmosis. How did this song come about?
Yeah. So this song is kind of it's a step into a new aesthetic I've been trying. And you may have seen me in some performances I've done where I rock alien glasses and, the solar system outfits where I have like space and galaxies on my clothing.
Hmm.
I've decided that's going to be both a clothing aesthetic and a sonic aesthetic too.
Yes.
And I'm going to call it sextraterrestrial. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. That is so on brand for you.
It'll be the new vaporwave.
Bruh, this is the next big thing, man. Hop on or you're not.
Based.
Okay,
Nah,
that's a really good segue into talking about your fascination with space imagery and extraterrestrials. Um,
mhm.
what's up with that? Like, what draws you to that?
Yeah, so I mean, my whole life I've seen myself as, like we've said, based, very much in my own lane. And even when I meet new people, they oftentimes tell me, they're like, dude, you're unlike really anyone I've met. And it gets mixed reactions, which I'm fine with. And I've
Mm.
decided, if I'm going to wear that on my sleeve, I should just embrace that really alien outsider feel. And it just made me more enthralled with my life and things that could be going on elsewhere. Just the thought of aliens fascinates me.
So that's kind of how your interest in extraterrestrial life came about, because it seems like now you're more than ever you're more like, yo, like fucking aliens, dude. And like
Yeah,
I'll I think that's fucking sick. I just find it interesting that like you're really repping hard for extraterrestrial life.
absolutely, man. Just the thought that being a human, being a person can already be that weird. I could only imagine the lifestyle of someone who's not from here. That's just
I would
fascinating.
really I would really like to see aliens. I probably won't in my lifetime, but you know, it would be cool. I love
Yeah,
aliens. I just humans, I think it would be so devastating because humans were just like always at the center of the universe. We think we're the center of the universe. And like we treat the
exactly.
earth like it's our fucking playground and we're just like, yeah, and we separate ourselves from animals. That's something I find really interesting. Even in like college classes I'm taking, there's like this distinction between people and animals, but it's like the only distinction between people and animals is people have self-conscious, more self-conscious than any other animal, but
Hmm.
we're still animals. So like the
Yeah,
idea of aliens I think would be really fucking like traumatic for the human race. This idea that like we're not the center of the universe, like there's something so much bigger than us. Because it's one thing to like speculate about it, but it's another thing to like actually see it for yourself. I think that'll be fucking crazy when that happens.
it will be. It will make us both rewrite and rethink everything about humanity. We're like, Are we an evolved species? Could we go higher? And
Dude,
is it
I'm
our
on the
way?
alien train with you now. Let's go. It's
Let's go, bro.
extraterrestrial gang, dude.
Extra gang, bro.
It's crazy, man. What the hell? All right. There's one last song though, Ecstasy of Orion. Why is this the closer? And like what's the background behind it?
This one's a closer because it's kind of just seen as a peaceful exit to a project. It's basically me. I'll admit it's probably the least thematic topic out of all of them. Like it doesn't really have a whole lot of story. It's just me diving into a bunch of personal story while I talk about being high up on Mount Nuska. And yeah, it's just seen as
cool
it's just seen as a nice closing stoner anthem, you know.
Wait, so high on Mount Nuska?
Yeah.
Is that like, are you referring to the Matanuska Valley or the Matanuska Ferry, or?
It's referring to two things. Matanuska Valley, as in, you know, mentally I feel like I'm up high on the mountain. And then it also means Matanuska Thunderfuck, which is the strain of cannabis that is known to come from Alaska.
That's really interesting. I learned something new today. Well, I learned a lot of new things today. Yeah. As we close out, I have a couple more questions. What are your my second to last question would be, what are your hopes for Indigenous peoples all over the world in the future? Because like we see a lot of shit going down. We see a lot of protests. We see a lot of sovereignty movements. And we see a lot more Indigenous representation in media. Like, what are your hopes personally for the future of Indigenous peoples all over the world? And, you know, more specifically, like your people.
Yeah, I'm hoping for an era of revitalization through the arts. Because I think if there's one thing that can bring us from extinction to total revitalization, it would be artistic expression, whether it be music or, you know, screenwrite, acting, dancing. There's some form of artistic medium that will make us flourish and prosper higher than we've been in the past ever. And I think a good metaphor for that would be, have you watched Avatar: The Last Airbender?
You know, I haven't finished it, but I've watched some of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so the one thing I'll say is, you know, he doesn't always stay as the last one. That just shows that even if you have a little bit left of people you think have died out and are eternally a minority, you can still have the creativity and the power to completely bring them back tenfold.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to see.
Yeah, I hate this idea of like it's futile, because it's like, I mean, look at the Hawaiian language. Like there was like 500 speakers at one point, and now it's like a huge thing because of revitalization programs and because of cultural programs and all that shit. And, you know, I mean, come on, like it's dead if you think it's dead. Like if you work,
exactly,
you know, like I really have a lot of respect for people that are like fighting to save these dead languages, or I guess these sleeping languages, because they don't have any fluent speakers, and like are just like doing everything they can to like piece together. Like that is so sick, because it's like they have nothing to gain from that. There's no monetary gain, there's no social political gain. They're doing it because they know that it's important, because they know that their culture is important. It's way beyond any kind of like ulterior motive or anything. Like there's no reward for that.
Yeah. I also love that a lot of these people, they've come to accept what today's day and age is like, and they're just intertwining into it with their own unique, you know, art style. Yeah. And I think that's smart, because rather than fight the system and say our people are dying, our language is dying, and you guys all suck, what they should be doing is looking for a way to accept how things are and just build it back. Just start building it back now and have an amazing future.
For sure. All right. Last thing I wanted to ask is, what do you have planned like what's next for Air Jazz? You dropped a new song, Res Dogs, which I must say is a banger. It's a fucking banger, dude.
I had a lot of fun.
Go listen to that if you haven't listened to it. It's a fucking banger, dude. But like what's next for Air Jazz?
Next for me is definitely going to more Seattle shows and venues with the homies I've made here, and really branching out all over beyond the Northwest, really branching out to the rest of the world and letting us know that we're here and showing our presence in music.
Yeah. For sure. And any new music coming down the pipe, or are you taking a break from music, or how's that going?
I've been working on some new songs, though. I'm not gonna be super quantity over quality. You know, I'm gonna make sure that I have some good singles saved up, and then I'll be dropping them over the course of the year.
Hell yeah, dude. I can't wait. Thank you so much for talking to me. This was something that I really wanted to do, and I'm so glad that we were able to do it. And hopefully this can be a series and I can talk to other artists. And if you're another artist watching, please hit me up. This was really fun. I was so glad to learn more about the album and talk about music and talk about life and all that shit. And yeah.
Amazing, dude. Yeah, thanks for having me. I really think you can take this somewhere and get some really good artistic recognition.
For sure.
Forward.
I think it's an under like there should be more people like talking about music, because there's a lot of people that are like, oh, this is great, reacting to this, but it's like, where's like the talking about music? Where's like people talking about like the process of it? I think that's something that like is so interesting, at least to me. But yeah, all right. Thank you for coming on, dude. I'll talk to you soon, I'm sure. And
absolutely.
I hope that all is well with you. Take care of yourself. Yeah.
Right back at you, broski. Much appreciated. It's a pleasure.
All right. Farewell.
Slow. Put that hoe down. Put that hoe down. Slow down. Put that hoe down. Here it don't clown. Need that Motown. Hootenanny. Hootenanny. Hold down. Suitin'